Thank you. Take your time.
Like, why is everybody, like, why
Hey
is
y'all,
the
I'm
police
Atticus
fighting
Scott,
against
former
us?
Kentucky State Representative, and you're joining me today on State Watch Nights.
We will continue to provide updates as we have more information.
Former Kentucky State Representative, and you're joining me today on State Watch Nights.
There was a guy just walking around with her at the celebration
We are the National Assembly.
They just have us have this
I want the whole thing.
It's just like once we change the, I think it's R1 restriction to include like just really good shot of every
The team at Norton West Louisville Hospital would like to invite you to a community update and listening session. In partnership with the Frazier Museum, we are so excited to give you, our community, updates and hear feedback from you as well. Let's talk and bridge the divide. In attendance will be myself, Lorenza Townsend, Chief Administrative Officer for Norton West Louisville Hospital, and Russ Cox, CEO of Norton Healthcare. And now, all we need is you. Join us at the Frazier Museum. The address is 829 West Main Street, beginning at 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., July 15th. Come and talk to us. Come see me. Come bridge the divide with us. But if you do nothing else, stay live.
Through every note, every performance, the arts connect us. The arts connect us through joy and through awe, bridging cultures and generations. From intimate theaters to the grandest stages, the arts bring us together, reminding us that we're never truly alone. When we experience the arts, we experience each other. Kentucky Performing Arts. The arts connect us.
Metro TV will start in 30 seconds. Folks, we're waiting on our page to get here. This is the regular meeting of the Louisville Metro Council, June 26, 2025. Please come to order. The time is currently about 6:15. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being held pursuant to KRS 61.826 and Council Rule 5A. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Hopkins. Councilmember Franklin. Present. Councilmember Perry Bryant.
Present.
Councilmember Ernest.
Present.
Councilmember Purvis. Present. Councilmember Linder.
Present.
Councilmember McCraney. Here. Councilmember Rainer Rutler.
Present.
Councilmember Owens.
Here.
Councilmember Raymond. Here. Councilmember Perryman. Here. Councilmember Jefferson.
Here.
Councilmember St.
Here.
Councilmember Best. Councilmember Chapel. Here. Councilmember Reed.
Here.
Councilmember Winkler.
Here.
Councilmember Walker. Here. Councilmember Pedagog.
Here.
Councilmember Vincent.
Present.
Councilmember Lloyd. Councilmember Bratcher.
Here.
Councilmember Hudson.
Here.
Councilmember Logan Woolridge. Here. Councilmember Betchon.
Here.
President Ackerson.
President, and let the record reflect that Councilwoman Rui has an excused absence due to illness. Councilwoman Parrish Wright, I believe you got a page.
Yes, I do, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank this body for waiting on our youth. His name is Chase Reese. While in transport here, they were pulled over, so that took a little bit, but we made it, and I want to thank his driver and thank Chase for coming. Chase is amazing. Nine years old, he's in the 4th grade. Chase Reese is a spirited 4th grader at Cochran Elementary, where he brings energy and enthusiasm to both the classroom and the football field. With a passion for football, Chase spends his afternoons practicing his skills and dreaming of making the winning play. Outside of football, Chase enjoys hanging out with friends, exploring new and active games, and sharing his love for the sport with anyone who will listen. Chase is interested in politics and learning about the rights and responsibilities of others at a very young age. He became very intrigued at the then new councilwoman and surprises his mother often by informing her of Metro Council news that he sees and follows on social media. He actually looks at my social media. Don't hold it against him. Chase strives to be a good citizen, serving his community. He quickly can identify issues in community and lend his voice to speak for what's right. He continues to excel in school and will always help his mom and grandmother. Welcome, Chase, and thank you.
Madam Clerk, are there any addresses to council?
Yes, sir, we have two.
Okay, let me remind those addressing the council, please refrain from using any profanity, making any derogatory statements to council members. Additionally, there's only 3 people that speak on the topic, because there's only 2, there's not a problem with that tonight. So, you can call up the speakers.
Ricardo X.
Good evening, Louisville Metro Council. I'm Ricardo X. I'm an educator in this community since 1975, and I emailed each of you a memo that addressed what I perceive to be an inequity in the mayor's 2026 budget proposal. I referenced Joseph Gert's article here on May 4th of 2025, where he asked the question, the Roots 101 Museum is a gem, it's in precious stone. Why hasn't Louisville embraced it? First and foremost, Roots 101 is a nationally acclaimed museum, 65,000 visitors annually, and it serves as a vital educational resource not only for the Black community, but for the community at large. Since its inception in 2019, Roots has not received a dime of Louisville Metro Council money, according to the information I have, okay? And that's 6 years, y'all. And 6 years is like, I know you can debate about, well, somebody didn't get their stuff in on time, or whatever you might want to talk about, but 6 years is that's exclusion. Okay, it's more than that. Can't address it to oversight or something such as that. So, and of course, the budget tells us what our priorities are. So, why is it that every other significant cultural institution can get, funded, and I made some references to $300,000 to Portland Museum and, various other museums, and how come Roots can't get nothing, not a dime. This relevant cultural institution is deserving of financial support, and equity demands that this funding disparity be addressed. You, Metro Council, you have the power to correct this inequity by allocating appropriate funding for Roots 101 African American Museum. So the question that Gert asked, why hasn't Louisville embraced it? Today, Metro Council, you have the opportunity to change that answer. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sir, I just wanted you to know, you're obviously not aware of this, that we were able to secure $100,000 for Roots 101 in this budget tonight. Yes, tonight.
That sounds like it's approaching justice. Thank you. Next speaker.
Siobhan Thompson. Hello, my name is Siobhan Thompson, and I attend Bethel Baptist Church, and I'm a member of CLAP. For about a year and a half, I worked as a peer support specialist at the Living Room, which was a crisis drop-in center in Louisville that operated from 2017 to 2019. Working in the Living Room, I saw so many examples of how a drop-in crisis center can change lives. I saw people in mental health crises who need a safe space or someone to talk to. I saw police drop people off when they knew jail wasn't the right solution. Whatever problem they were facing, I saw people at their lowest and had the opportunity to point them in the right directions. One time, a woman came in and told us that she wanted to go into drug treatment. We helped her set up an appointment at a treatment facility and arranged transportation for her. While we were waiting, she OD'd in the bathroom. Thankfully, we were there to respond and she made a full recovery. She later entered treatment. I can only imagine what would have happened to her if the crisis center did not exist. A crisis center isn't just a temporary fix. It's a way for people to connect to resources, and take the first step on the road to recovery. This problem is personal to me because I'm a mother of a child who struggles with mental health issues. And even for someone like me who has worked in the mental health field, it's hard to know where to turn to find the resources. My son is lucky to have me, but you shouldn't have to have a parent who's a mental health professional to find help. Without a place like this, too many people end up spiraling until they end up in hospitals, jails, or worse. In the last 6 years, without a crisis center, I think we've all seen evidence of this problem in our streets, and it's only going to get worse as we continue to deal with the aftermath of the pandemic. We can't ignore the problem any longer. We know that the solution to our growing mental health crisis is to establish a new drop-in crisis center. 7 counties is prepared to launch this program, but it will require seed money from Metro Council to get started. So many other cities toured the Living Room and took the best practices. I was one of the peers who would come in early to lead some of those tours. Many of those cities have successfully gone on to run their own programs. Clearly, it can be done, and if done properly, it will obviously work. We used to inspire other cities, and it's embarrassing that we no longer have that resource to offer to our own community. So while we know the budget is being voted on tonight, the work is not done. We know that there will be mid-year adjustments and another budget before we know it. This program needs to be a priority for our city. It has saved lives, and I know it will too. Thank you.
Councilman Shannon, I believe you asked for point of personal privilege.
Yes, I want to ask for a sound just for a moment. I was thinking about the young man that drowned in the river, and it really touched my heart because as we were kids, we played in the river a lot, and I lost 2 cousins of the river. And so that's just been bothering me all, and it happens so quick, you don't know, so I just want to take a moment of silence just for the young man.
A moment of silence. Next, we have the approval of the council minutes for the regular meeting of June 12, 2025. Are there any corrections or deletions?
Second.
Motion brought before us. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? In opposition, the minutes are approved as written. Next, we have the approval of the following committee minutes, all in 2025. The regular committee of the whole, June 12th. The special budget committee, June 16th. The regular planning and zoning, June 17th. The regular labor and economic development, June 17th. Regular government oversight audit and appointments, June 17th. Regular equity, community affairs, housing, health, and education, June 18th. Regular appropriations, June 18th. The regular public safety, June 18th. The special budget meeting, June 23rd. The regular committee on committees, June 24th. Are there any corrections or deletions? Hearing none, may I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion brought before us. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any opposition, the minutes are approved as written. Madam Clerk, do we have any communications to the council?
Yes, sir, we do.
Please read those in the record.
Dear President Everson, in accordance with the Board of Zoning Adjustment Orders, I am reappointing the following. Mayor Brett Ford, reappointment term expires June 30, 2028. Yanni Vazos, reappointment term expires June 30, 2028. Your proposition on these reappointments is most approved. Sincerely, Fred Greenberg, Mayor. Dear President Everson, in accordance with the Criminal Justice Commission, I have appointed and reappointed the following. Ford Flag, reappointment term expires June 30, 2027. Joanne James, reappointment term expires June 30, 2027. Stephen Lawman's new appointment term expires December 31st, 2026. Your proposition of these appointments and reappointments is most appreciated. Sincerely, Fred Greenberg, Mayor. Dear President Exton, in accordance with the Domestic Violence Prevention Coordinating Council, I am appointed and reappointed the following. Sharon Derrick, reappointment term expires April 26, 2028. Franny DeBarnes, reappointment term expires April 26, 2028. Autumn Lockhart, new appointment term expires April 26, 2028. Brittany Hill Whitehill, new appointment term expires April 26, 2028. Eli Fox, new appointment term expires April 26, 2028. Brittany Moore, new appointment term expires April 26, 2028. Your proper attention to these appointments and reappointments is most appreciated. Sincerely, Craig Greenberg, Mayor. Ready to full?
Those appointments needing council approval will be forwarded to the Government Oversight Audit Committee. Next is our consent calendar. The consent calendar comprises items 17 through 60. Are there any additions or deletions?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I would like to remove item number 49 from the consent calendar, please.
Item number 49 will be removed. Thank you. Madam Clerk, a second reading of the remainder of the items.
Following legislation was forwarded to the Appropriations Committee. Item 17, an ordinance appropriating $12,000 from District 4 Neighborhood Development Funds to Brightside Inc. for 502 Tree and Landscape to perform tree trimming services and remove dead trees in District 4. Item 18, an ordinance amending ordinance number 231, series 2024, appropriating $60,000 neighborhood development funds in the following manner: $35,500 from District 23, $20,000 from District 24, $2,000 from District 22, $1,000 from District 8, and $500 each from Districts 9, 17, and 21 to Metro Parks for production cost of the 2025 Friday Fest and Highview Park Concert Series. Item 19, an ordinance appropriating $7,500 from District 1 Neighborhood Development Funds to Metro Parks for the sponsorship of 15 children to attend Southwood Community Center's 2025 summer camp. Final legislation was forwarded from Budget Committee. Item 20, an ordinance amending ordinance number 100, series 2024, relating to the fiscal year 2024-2025 operating budget by transferring $10,000 from the Neighborhood Development Fund District 1 to the local Metro Council General Operations District 1. Item 21, an ordinance approving the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget for local tourism. Item 22, an ordinance approving the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget for the Transit Authority of River City TARC. Item 23, a resolution approving the budget and economic improvement plan for the Greater Local Lodging Management District BBA Local Hotel Partnership for the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. The following legislation was forwarded from Committee on Committees. Item 24, a resolution amending the Louisville Metro Council policies and procedures and the Louisville Metro Council personnel policies. The following legislation was forwarded from Equity, Community Affairs, Housing, Health, and Education Committee. Item 25, a resolution determining the property located at 3021 and 3042 Wilson Avenue, and 3028 Wilson Avenue, 3038 Wilson Avenue, 3044 Wilson Avenue, and 3017 Wyandotte Avenue as surplus and not needed for a governmental purpose and authorizing their transfer. Item 26, a resolution honoring the Honorable J. Michael Brown by dedicating the corners of 18th and 19th Streets at their intersection with Madison Street as J. Michael Brown Way in his honor. The following legislation was forwarded from Government Oversight, Audit, and Appointments Committee. Item 27, the appointment of Dr. Ida Dickey to the Civilian Review and Accountability Board. Term expires March 25th, 2028. Item 28, the appointment of Dr. Kenneth Pagano to the Civilian Review and Accountability Board. Term expires March 25th, 2027. Item 29, appointment of Denham Sims to the Civilian Review and Accountability Board. Term expires March 25th, 2028. Item 30, reappointment of Jason Smith, to the Anchorage Middletown Fire Protection District Board. Term expires June 30th, 2028. Item 31, reappointment of Andrea Alser to the Anchorage Middletown Fire Protection District Board. Term expires June 30th, 2028. Item 32, appointment of Barry Corstein to the Anti-Displacement Commission. Term expires June 26, 2028. Item 33, appointment of Valerie Golson Day to the Anti-Displacement Commission. Term expires June 26, 2028. Item 34, appointment of Vashti Proctor to the Anti-Displacement Commission. Term expires June 26, 2028. Item 35, appointment of Evan Bradley to the Anti-Displacement Commission. Term expires June 26, 2027. Item 36, an appointment of Dr. Brandon Graves to the Anti-Displacement Commission. Term expires June 26, 2027. Item 37, appointment of Beverly Morton to the Anti-Displacement Commission. Term expires June 26, 2027. Item 38, appointment of LaShonda Allen to the Anti-Displacement Commission. Term expires June 26, 2026. Item 39, appointment of Michelle Gardner to the Anti-Displacement Commission. Term expires June 26, 2026. Item 40, appointment of Corbett Michael Scholl to the Civilian Review and Accountability Board. Term expires March 25th, 2028. Item 41, appointment of Krishna Tibbs to the Ethics Commission. Term expires June 30th, 2028. Item 42, appointment of Casey Hinkle to the Ethics Commission. Term expires June 30th, 2028. Item 43, appointment of John Hatfield to the Ethics Commission. Term expires June 30th, 2028. Item 44, appointment of Imran Haslam to the Ethics Commission. Term expires June 30th, 2028. Item 45, appointment of Danny Dale to the Beardale Fire Protection District Board. Term expires June 30th, 2028. Item 46, appointment of Jasmine Wiggins to the Kentucky Works Greater Louisville Workforce and Development Board. Term expires December 17th, 2028. Item 47, appointment of Tim Martin to the Redevelopment Authority Board. Term expires January 28th, 2028. Item 48, reappointment of Clara Pasafune to the Redevelopment Authority Board. Term expires February 28th, 2028. The following legislation was forwarded from Labor, Economic, and Development Committee. Item 50, a resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation to fund the following sole source contract for the zoo concerning parts, maintenance, repair, and service for the zoo's antique conservation carousels and carvings, Inc., $200,000. Item 51, a resolution approving the granting of local incentives to Eve Solutions, Inc., and any subsequent assignees or approved affiliates thereof pursuant to KRS Chapter 154, Subchapter 32. Item 52, a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept $21,000 of funding from Kentucky Department of Libraries and Archives to be administered by the Office of Records Compliance. Item 53, a resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation to fund the following sole source contract for public works and assets concerning split basis for large decorative light poles located throughout the Metro Central Business District, Bisco, Inc., $85,000. Item 54, a resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation to fund the following non-competitively negotiated professional service contract for the local zoological gardens for its mentor internship program for Jefferson Community Technical College students. Jefferson Community Technical College, $140,000. Item 55, a resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation to fund the following sole source contract for Louisville Metro Revenue and Tax Processing Services, Fast Enterprises, LLC, $2,209,060. Item 56, a resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation to fund the following sole source contract for the Louisville Metro Police Department to purchase a Simtech modular tech house modular system, Simtech Modular Inc., $44,240.08. The following legislation is forwarded from Planning and Zoning Committee. Item 57, an ordinance relating to the planned development option for property located at 2004 Bank Street containing approximately 0.12 acres and being Louisville Metro, case number 25-CAT3-0001. Item 58, a resolution requesting the planning commission to review an amendment to the land development code LDC to adopt the alternative regulations for zoning map amendment procedures as outlined in KRS 100.2111. Item 59, a resolution requesting the planning commission to review an amendment to the land development code LDC chapter 1 to extend the expiration date of approved development plans for affordable housing to 5 years. Following legislation was forwarded to Public Safety Committee. Item 60, an ordinance amending the Louisville Metro Code of Ordinances, section 72.062 concerning stolen vehicle retrieval at the Louisville Metro toll lot, read in full.
Have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Second, item number 4, Madam Clerk, this requires a roll call vote, please open the roll.
Councilman Biaggioni?
If I'm not coming across, like,
You are, I apologize.
oh, okay, great. I am not, yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Councilman Chapel?
Those voting. Sure, you got 25 yes votes.
Consent counter passes. The next item of business is old business. Madam Clerk, a reading of item number 61.
Item 61, an ordinance related to the fiscal year 2025-2026 operating budget for the W Jefferson County Metro Government, including appropriations and authorizations for operation, maintenance, support, and function of the government and its various offices, departments, commissions, institutions, agencies, and other metro supported activities as may be read in full.
Motion to approve.
Item brought before us, this came out of the budget committee, so Councilman Kramer, you got the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. As my colleagues know, for the public watching at home, we've had this budget before us since April. Lots of really good conversation, culminated in a couple weeks of negotiations, done in good faith. It's not, I think, I'm going to offer or suggest that the Vice Chair have a moment to speak as well, but I feel sure that most of us would acknowledge that if we wrote the budget, this is not what it would look like. But that's the way budgets work when you have 26 council members who are trying to figure out what their top priorities are. Again, after a lot of conversation, feel like we've arrived at a budget that captures the desires, the priorities. First for the mayor, who sent us a budget that was, in my experience, a little bit easier to work with than some of the budgets we've had in the past. And have come up with a budget that I think is really good. I don't want to speak specifically to the budget itself. It passed out of committee with a 10-to-1 vote. Lots of very open and spirited discussion during that committee meeting. It's been in the system for quite some time, so it should be readily available. I will say that when we finished committee on Monday, we recognized that there were a couple items that some I's that need to be dotted, some T's that need to be crossed. So there are a couple technical amendments, or a couple technical changes. They're not amendments, it's just technical changes.
Before we get into that real quickly, just so we're clear, we've got a motion for this before us, correct?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, so now we're talking about the budget that was amended that came out of committee. Thank you. So what I'm holding, this doesn't require any vote or any consideration. These are just technical changes. Things like we had money going to one department, the same amount of money just was going to a different department. Those kinds of simple changes. So really happy with where we are. I want to say thank you to the mayor for the budget that he sent. I want to say especially thank you for his consistent availability. Anytime I had a question or concern, I called and he either answered or called right back. That makes a lot of difference. Working with Councilman Winkler, again, same thing, met in person several times. I was traveling a bit. He was kind enough to be patient through my missing airplanes. And then he was traveling a bit, and I was gracious enough to allow that he was with his daughters and recovering from bumping into things. So, so it was a really good process. Again, want to thank everybody who was involved in and asking for a yes vote. And again, if Councilman Winkler would like to.
Councilman Winkler.
Thank you, President, and thank you, Chair Kramer. And I just want to echo the sentiments and, I think as Councilman Kramer said, any one of us would write a different budget. But at the end of the day, this is a budget that reflects the collective priorities of 26 of us plus the folks across the street at the administration. And I think, funds things that across the community that people care about. And I think on balance is a good budget. I want to thank Chair Kramer for the partnership. I won't thank everybody. I did that in committee on Monday, but do want to thank all the department heads who came and spoke, all the members of the committee who asked very insightful questions, and certainly then the staff here at Metro Council that put in countless hours to get us to where we are. So again, I would ask for everybody's support of what we have before us, and thank you, President Adams.
All right, folks, first in my queue is Councilman Wininger. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to make a motion for an amendment to the amended budget.
I'll second.
Second.
Read your amendment.
Yes, sir, and this is in all of your email inboxes. It's also in the documents. But I will go over the executive summary of the amendments I'm offering, a People's Budget for an Affordable Louisville. This package of budget amendments, one offered for the FY26 operating budget, and I'll speak to both in my motivation here. And when we come to the capital budget, I think we can consider it properly motivated, and I don't think I'll need to re-motivate it as it is all one summary. But one offered for the FY26 operating budget, and one offered for the FY26 capital budget, makes changes to the proposed Louisville Metro budget that reflect community ask for a budget that meets the needs of working class Louisvillians. This is a package of amendments that would help protect access to public transit, expand access to food and lower the price of groceries, and fund a study to research bringing LG&E to public ownership and providing cheaper, cleaner energy. It would also help build more affordable housing, provide support for needed social services, and strengthen Metro government departments like the Office of Violence Prevention and our Metro parks. This is a budget truly by and for the working people of Louisville. In the operating budget, this amendment would reallocate $28,557,300 from the proposed FY26 budget by restoring MLMPD's appropriation to the amended FY25 budget amount, as well as eliminating funding for unspecified AI programs, the External Louisville Economic Development Alliance, and the thus far unfulfilled Park Ranger program. The $28.5 million would be reallocated to programs that community members asked for repeatedly during the budget process. It would provide $10 million in funding for TARC to help shore up their fiscal situation as they implement the 2025 redesign, $6 million to meet the asks in the Safe and Stable Housing for All plan, $4 million to create an Office of Food Security and operate a pilot municipal grocery store program, $3 million to the West Louisville Dream Team for the preservation of the NIA Center, nearly $5 million to add positions and expand services for the Office of Violence Prevention, Louisville Metro Animal Services, Parks and Recreation, Codes and Regulations, and Alcohol Beverage Control, $350,000 to the Office of Sustainability for a feasibility study for taking LG into public ownership, and $150,000 in funding for the Imagination Library of Louisville. In the capital budget, this amendment would reallocate $15,266,000 from the proposed FY26 budget by I was asked to motivate them once. The amendment would reallocate $15,266,000 from the proposed FY26 budget by removing $6 million for the purchase of the land of the first responder training facility, $4 million for the purchase of poll books for the Jefferson County Clerk's Office, $3.7 million for additional vehicles and equipment for LMPD, $1 million for the MMY Modular Housing Demonstration Project, and $500,000 for the expansion of the license plate reader program. 15.2 million would be reallocated to help support the community priorities reflected in the operating budget amendment. It would provide $6 million in funding for capital purchases to support the pilot municipal grocery store program, $3 million for the acquisition of a new transit hub, $950,000 for the parks maintenance, $600,000 to renovate Parkville Community Center, $500,000 for the installation of solar panels for rural metro government buildings, and $400,000 more for the homeless shelter renovations. It goes on to list these by line item in the spreadsheet below, including where the funding sources are for the capital projects. I would like to just further speak to the fact that this came out of a proposal that was offered to all of us several weeks ago. And in my interactions with my own constituents, I had multiple budget town halls. I had my own feedback form. We of course received hundreds of items for feedback from the general public into the local Metro Council forum. And fundamentally, the biggest change here in the operating budget is that we take the LMPD line item back to what we amended for spending in the FY25 budget. And the reason that I do that, which in my mind makes this flat spending for LMPD, not a cut, flat spending for their spending in reality. And the fact of the matter is that every year when Louisville Metro approves a budget, we include tens of millions of dollars for LMPD that we know they will not spend. We know they will not spend it. This is something we've done every year. And then in the mid-year adjustment, that money is handed back. This is money that is essentially stuffed under a mattress at LMPD, and it cannot be put to work for the people of Louisville in programs that are starved throughout the year in order to serve a fiction that we are increasing this police spending. Every year we make this thing. I do not believe that this is fiscally responsible, and I believe that it is a harm to our community. And so that is why I made the decision to pull that money and put that into these different changes in the operating budget. It is also a fact of the matter that when we have so many people that ask us for more money for public transit, more money for parks and libraries, for codes and regulations, all of these other things that we fund in here, we have one item in our budget that far exceeds every other line item. Why rob banks? That's where the money is. Our money is in LPD, and much of it is a fiction. And it is important that we address these community needs, and that is why that is where the funding is largely pulled from in the capital budget. And I'll be short because again, I don't want to belabor the point. I don't agree with spending $6 million for what was called an Atlanta Cop City training facility. I have the same view of it here. And I think that that money is better served with a transit hub downtown for public transit, a restoration of $2.5 million for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, additional maintenance in Parks and Rec, and the other items listed below. This is something that I really believe in, and I ask my colleagues' support. I appreciate the people who have already said they will support, but I understand that we have different priorities, different visions. I do want to emphasize that no cut from the amended budget that came out of committee comes from anyone's district specific spending, because I think that would be wrong. Even in places where obviously I don't agree with everybody's priorities and some of the things that we're spending money on, but I don't have to. But this is about the direction of our city and a fundamental problem that we have had since merger. Thank you.
Councilman Beecham, gain your report.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Barely.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
Thank you. So, I'm sorry that I couldn't join you in chambers this evening. I appreciate my colleague voicing his disagreement with this current budget, that's fine. I don't begrudge anybody their disagreement with about this budget or any budget that we attempt to pass as a council. I would like to address a few topics though, and why I would encourage my colleague, not so much related to the details of his amendment, although I object to them, but to a few facts and statements made related to this. Number one, there are not tens of millions of dollars a year swirled away in some slush fund for LMPD that is then used in some other manner. There have been years in the past where maybe a couple $1 million, and it's usually a de minimis percentage of the overall budget, is not spent for one reason or another. There have also been years when they've had to move money into that budget because they have been over budget. So I disagree with that characterization. I also disagree with the characterization that this isn't defunding the police. The police budget goes up every year largely because of salaries. These are negotiated salaries in contracts for rank and file police officers that have to support their families and get properly compensated for the life-saving work they do every single day on behalf of the people of this city. And so it is imperative that we budget for those increases. To not budget for those increases is to cut police officers and defund the police. I want to fundamentally object to this concept of using the words "the people's X, Y, or Z." Right? In this case, the words were used that this is the people's budget. First of all, nothing is the people's budget unless it gets 14 votes on this council. Because without 14 votes on this council, it doesn't even represent a majority of the elected representatives of this community. So anything less than 14 votes cannot be considered the people's anything. Secondly, if we're going to use a term as wide as, quote, the people's, unquote, anything, whether it's a budget or other document, then it probably should get the vast majority of votes, 20 to 26 votes, in order to even hold such a title. Otherwise, it is not the people's anything. It represents some people's opinion, maybe a few people's opinion, maybe even more than a few people's opinion. But to use these wide terminologies before something's been voted on, particularly when, in my, what I believe will happen here is this will only get a few votes, including my colleagues, my colleague Councilman Linerger's, then to characterize it in this way is just not accurate, and I just object to it generally. And then finally, this concept that this is not affecting projects that are in our districts are simply not true. There are spending that is being proposed to be cut in this that directly impacts council districts, starting with the LMPD operating cut. That cut will absolutely reduce the police force in my district, amongst many others, I'm sure. Okay, that is something that I prioritize more than anything else, to make sure that the people in my community are safe and have enough police officers to represent them. To say it does not cut that, you are characterizing certain things in the budget as, a district-funded project and other things as not. We prioritize it. The minority caucus prioritized a first responder training facility. It keeps getting characterized as just LMPD. That is not true. It will be a first responder training facility. So first of all, I don't understand why we want to have first responders and not properly train them and give them the facilities to be trained. But beyond that, that will be placed in certain areas of this district, in this city. That was prioritized by specific people and specific representatives throughout this community. And it will affect certain districts to not have that done, as well as other things that are being proposed to be cut here. So to say this is not affecting individual districts, that is to use terminology that, again, I disagree with, is to say that, well, because it's a specific district project or a specific park or something or road, if it's beyond that, it doesn't affect individual prioritized district projects. That's not true. because many of my colleagues prioritize these things and sacrifice other priorities in order to make sure these things are funded. And that brings me back finally to the process. I want to thank Councilman Kramer and Councilman Winkler. I think they have once again done an outstanding job as chair and vice chair to navigate what is hands down the most difficult document and process to navigate that we do every single year. And hands down, it is the most difficult. They strive to represent 26 very different voices with very different priorities. Not one of us would ever draft the document the way it's drafted. That is not possible. We would all do this differently. We have all sacrificed things, and we have all also received things that were prioritized individually, including some that are objected to this budget. They still have things that were prioritized and were put into the budget. Okay, but we also all didn't get everything we wanted, or didn't get things that were priorities. But I see this and the process that was done as actually reflecting the people, because it reflected the voices of 26 districts, 26 elected representatives in this community. So I would encourage everybody to vote against this and any amendments, making any amendments to this budget is problematic in this manner. In this manner, all 26 of us would then be entitled to start making changes to this budget, and I can tell you that budget will then no longer be what I consider the people's budget, because it went through a process that reflected everybody's voice. So please reject this amendment, and please adopt the budget as presented, which I believe to actually be the people's budget. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Winkler, you got the floor. Councilwoman Mullen Coolidge, are you speaking to the amendment?
I am.
You have 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I do also want to say that I do object to this. There's a few things in here on both sides that I object to. So first of all, as it comes to, let me start with the operating here. Taking away money from LMPD. And how can we say we're going to take away money from LMPD and take it back to where they were? So I believe last year, General, when it came to mid-year, we added $8 million. I believe we go back to that. So to say we took money away from them, I just can't see that. And considering the fact that we are growing numbers and we're adding to their recruiting class, to take away from that means that we won't have the budget to continue to do that. So we need to continue expanding that. To take away money from the park rangers, we're trying to add to our parks. So we're gonna say that we're gonna add to parks down, as you say, to add to parks and recreations, but yet we're gonna eliminate funding for park rangers. I'm not sure how we can do both of those. So how do we say that we're going to do that? To take away LMPD, but who do we call first? We call the police officers. We want them to respond when something goes wrong, but yet we don't want to fund the police department, so I'm not sure how we do that. I keep hearing Cop City, and I see things out here say we're a cop city, but again, we talk about the fact that we need our cops. We call our cops, but we don't want our cops. I think, Councilman Genie, you said it right when you said that the first responder training facility, this isn't a police training facility, it's a first responder training facility, and it's not only for Louisville. They said it when they came and talked about it. It's for the city, for anybody to be able to use that, to come and train what's to be the best of the best. So I appreciate that. And I also want to know what was said. So thank you, Councilman Kramer, thank you, Councilman Winkler, for putting the time and the effort into making this budget. Thank you to the staff, and thank you for the mayor for putting that step forward. I am not going to be able to back this. I can back the budget that's in front of us.
I know, because it's for the community.
Can we please?
Yeah, come on. Folks in the audience, this is a debate here on the floor. I appreciate you being here and showing interest, but we're not going to tolerate disturbances. So please, be respectful. Madam, your floor continues.
Thank you. Again, I cannot support this. I can't stand behind the police. I can't stand behind the park rangers. I can't stand behind the MMI. Again, I just can't support this. Thank you.
Next in the queue is Councilman Church Wright, Chatham District 4.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I first want to give the disclaimer that my comments about this is not against anyone who worked on this process. I reject that. And when we speak about the people we represent, each one of our districts have about 28 to 30,000+ people in it. So we have been elected to represent those people and to do what's best for the greater good of Louisville and our merged government with county. That's all of our jobs. I reject the notion that because we have to have these debates, this is my second term on the budget committee. I joined it for a reason, 2 jobs in all. I come to most of my meetings, and it's good to see Councilman Piagentini attending virtually. I believe in hybrid options, and it's nice to see all parties use it. But I want to be clear, I support this amendment because we did not draft this budget as a council. This budget was presented to us by the mayor, and the mayor chose what he wanted and his team wanted in there. I do think that there's been a lot of concessions made on all sides, but we are simply going over the amendments together. These amendments, these adjustments, we are not creating a whole new document. I want to respect the process, but also say that we're here for a reason. And we do get to say the people's budget. We do get to say the people's consent decree. We do get to say we represent the people, because we do. And so if our constituents are asking us to do something bigger, better, and bolder, it is our job. We have over 700,000 people in our merged government. Only 439 people from the community, the constituents, responded through our online process. So now we're left with even their priorities did not get the priority in this budget. So it is our duty to try to meet them where we're at, and we should not be retaliated against. I've heard everything from we'll give monies to other districts and take it from you all if you have any amendments. That is very childish and very high school, and I reject anything that has to do with that. Not on my time I will not be threatened and treated differently, and I'm representing a district that typically gets left out. So if you do take what you offer District 3, guess what? We won't even feel it. Because we haven't felt this budget in a very long time. So I am supporting Councilman Lininger's amendments, not out of disrespect, not to be disruptive, because in parts of this process, even though it was well-meaningful, things got messed up, things were left out. Many people didn't get the funding, they didn't even get scored correctly in the new EAF process. There's too many things that are happening to our communities that we could do something about right now. So that's why I'm supporting the amendment. I'm asking others to do the same, and if we fail, it is still not a loss, because right now, looking at this audience, looking at more and more people engaged in this process, we will keep pushing until we get a real people's budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make a few short responses, and then I can't imagine that there's much more that needs to be said. First, I would like to ask my colleagues sincere forgiveness for my rhetorical flourish of the people's budget language. That was language that I took from what came out of the community when this was originally brought to my office, and it was, I believe, brought to everyone's office, and so that's where that language comes from. The FY24 budget is the last year that we have the full year of fiscal spending to review. And in the FY24-25 budget, LNPD's budget was an original appropriation of $220 million. LNPD spent $193. That's tens of millions of dollars in difference. And again, that's the most recent number we have for a full year's appropriation. Specifically to the Park Rangers program, the reason that I included this, and it's not a large amount, right? $300,000, it's not a lot of money to play with in the budget. And this was a lot of work, especially in the capital budget. You know, you have to look at where the sources of funding are, make sure you're matching things correctly. And we do need to pass a balanced budget, and that's why a great deal of care was taken on the cuts as well as the additions, which are what I really want to focus on. But most of the responses are about the cuts, so here I am. The Park Rangers program is a fiction. And I think that's unfortunate, but when we had a testimony in Parks and Sustainability, many members of the minority caucus asked, why aren't there park rangers in my parks? Why aren't we gonna see them? Even park rangers, plural, is a fiction. We have one park ranger, we have the chief. And we have spent a great deal of money, a great deal of time, requiring this to be a law enforcement agency. We have overinvested in this program for the purpose of it being a law enforcement agency needlessly, because the park ranger chief testified to the Parks and Sustainability Committee that they were going to call LMPD when there was a problem. There is instead more money for personnel in parks in this amendment, because that's eyes and ears in the parks. That's people seeing, are there kids that are tearing up the playground? Or is there somebody doing, graffiti in the dugouts of the baseball field? Is there a sign that's all messed up and we need to replace the things that we hear about in the Parks and Sustainability Committee and the complaints that we have about the deferred maintenance in parks? This will make our parks more safe than the Parks Ranger program. This will give our parks a better defense against vandalism and against dangerous conditions that arrive from our deferred maintenance, because we'll have more people in parks. We'll have more Metro employees that can see when there's a problem. And again, it's not against the chief of the Park Rangers program that I'm saying this, or any future hires when, as I expect, this amendment fails. It's not about them. It's the fact that we have a performative fiction about the program, because they're just going to call LMPD when there's a problem. So instead, let's have more people in parks that are doing work in parks, going after our deferred maintenance, taking care of issues, and yes, seeing when there is a problem. And then when there's a problem, they're gonna call LMPD instead. Thank you.
Councilman Hawkins, the next one
Yeah, thank you. First, I want to commend my colleague for putting this amendment together. But I'm gonna say, I need park rangers, as everyone knows. And my park ranger that's in Algonquin Park has been near and dear to the community that I serve. He's been askers, he's done the most. And he has not had to call LMPD because LMPD has been there. My community, District 1, we need the police. As much as we say we don't, as much as, I feel as if $6 million to go to a training facility, it can go in so many other places. The quality of life for the seniors that I still have around, that's who they depend on. And I want to say this publicly because I've had several people from District 1 call me wanting me to support this amendment. And I told my colleague that I would. But after speaking with the lead person that's leading this meal center, and after she had a strong conversation with me just about do not bundle this up with this amendment, I want to make it publicly known that I do support funding for the meal center, but I cannot support this amendment. Thank you.
Councilman Winkler, I believe you do not want to speak to the amendment. There is no one else in my queue for the amendment. So the amendment is properly before us. I'm going to ask for a roll call vote. So there's no confusion on the voice vote. Madam Clerk, please open the roll for a vote on the amendment. What's that?
Point of order.
What point of order would you like?
Are we voting for this amendment with the operating and capital combined?
No, this is operating only, because that's all that we have before us.
Vote is open. Councilman Weber. Councilman Horn. Coulson. President Epperson, you have 21 no, 4 yes.
The amendment fails. Councilman Winkler, you want to speak to the unamended version of this? Withdrawn, okay. I have no other speakers in the queue. So with you, Councilman Rainer, you're not like you, but if you want to talk, you got it.
To speak to the amended budget.
Well, the one that is present in your system, not amended by Councilman Linenger, that failed.
Yes, please.
Speak what?
On the last budget that I voted on in Frankfurt as a state representative, I said that it was pretty good. For $15 billion, it would have to be pretty good. It had plenty of spending in it to benefit our residents, but I still voted no. Because pretty good is not good enough when it comes to the health and safety and well-being of our neighbors and the people that we represent. And just as the state underinvested in pre-K through 12 education and shorted state retirees, I believe that this budget misplaces priorities as well. This budget's about $1 billion. So again, of course, there's some good stuff in here, lots of it. There's important contributions to every district's parks and intersections and other amenities. To my most active budget feedback giving constituent, Roger, solar for city buildings is here. But go with me. Do you ever have a hamburger and you eat the whole thing and then someone says, how was that? And then you think about it and you go, it was just okay. Would you order it again? No. Would you recommend it to a friend? No. And this budget gives me that same feeling. Now I know it takes a lot of work to make an okay burger, and I appreciate it. But we forgot to season this sucker. This budget does not offer a vision, not even one that I disagree with, so much as it addresses challenges at the margins. It includes a little bit of something for everybody so that we all walk out of here feeling like winners and post online what we are bringing home for our constituents. But Louisville loses when each of us feels like a winner because we're not being visionary as a body. This budget allows TARC to limp along while Lexington and Nashville are lapping us and prioritizing public transit. It funds blanket deals, but no truly meaningful investments in youth and family stability that would make them less necessary. It funds those park rangers, but it doesn't ensure that every court and every park is playable. What we need are people out there pulling weeds. We are not bringing library funding to levels that come close to matching our peer cities in per capita spending. Every one of them should be a palace, and every person who works in them should make more than $16 an hour. We are not fully funding traffic calming projects that are ready to be put into effect immediately to make our city and our people safer. How does Louisville look and feel different, brighter, bolder, in 10 years or 5 or even 1 because of this budget? I don't think that it does, and so I'm voting no.
Call a question? Call a question? Yeah. Motion to call a question. All in favor say aye. Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
In opposition?
No.
I've said no's have it. However, we'll do a roll call and then call the question.
Vote is closing. President Epperson, you have 17 yes and 8 no.
Fails. All right, so next in my queue, I have Councilman Piagentini.
I'm sorry, question.
It only takes 17 votes on it.
17 of the 25? Okay. Because we're one short. Okay, well then it passes. Now the ordinance of force. Open the roll.
Voting on the, Mr. President, we're voting on the budget for us, right?
Yeah.
Councilman Gertrude? Voting's closing. President, 21 yes, 4 no.
The operating budget passes. Let's see here, Madam Clerk, reading of our next item is going to be item number 62.
Item 62, an ordinance related to the fiscal year 2025-2026 capital budget for the Lower Jefferson County Metro Government, including appropriations, authorizations of funds for general construction, maintenance, repair, and improvement of the facilities and sets of government to Lower Jefferson County and as well Metro supporting activities as amended read in full.
Motion.
Second.
Item brought before us, Councilman Franklin, is from your committee.
I would reiterate much of what I said the first time through, so I'd ask for a yes vote. One last thank you before we move on. We could not make this happen without Latanya Bell and Bestinberg. So also a shout out to our caucus staff. I'm sure Marcus wants to shout out to his caucus staff, and I'll certainly shout out to ours for the work that they do behind the scenes as well.
Councilman Linker, anything to add?
No, just, I know that Latanya Beth will take a well-deserved vacation after tonight, so thank you.
Councilman Leninger, your next queue, you have the floor.
I would like to make a motion about the previously referenced amendments for the capital budget.
Okay, that's before us. Councilman Piagentini, you speaking to the amendment or speaking to the budget overall?
No, budget overall.
Okay. Councilwoman McCray, are you going to speak to this amendment or are you going to speak to the budget overall?
Budget overall.
All right, no one else is in the queue regarding the amendment proposed by Councilman Leninger. We'll have a roll call vote on that amendment.
Actually, Mr. President, I would like to make a statement for this amendment as well.
All right, then we'll hold off on the roll call. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I must abstain from voting on any portion of the capital budget due to my prior employment with Simmons College of Kentucky and my involvement in writing some of the $3 million proposal for the William J. Simmons Foundation. So I will be abstaining. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. No one else in my queue to speak to the amendment. At this point, let's do a roll call on Councilman Leninger's amendment. A yes vote is in favor of his amendment, a no vote is against his amendment.
Vote is closing. President, you have 1 abstention, 20 no, and 4 yes.
The amendment proposed by Councilman Leninger fails. Councilman Piagentini, you're next in my queue. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. I won't reiterate a whole lot of my support here, other than, of course, I'm supporting this budget. I do want to make a general statement about this budget and others, is that I want to compliment for a moment, even though I disagree with his amendment, Councilman Leninger, who had priorities that at least went through a process where he showed how he might fund those things. It is easy, and any one of us can, I'm sure, say again, that we would draft a different budget and maybe say, well, I don't like this because it doesn't go far enough or bold enough or take enough action on certain topics. But unless that is backed up by how that would be paid for, there are a lot of ideas on how to spend lots of money that we should be quite specific on how that would be funded through tax increases or through cutting other programs or through other things. So I would just encourage people who want to get more involved in the budget in the future, if you think those changes need to be made, to then propose alternatives. Because again, it's easy to say, there's a lot of things I would like to spend money on. There's a lot of things I'd like to cut, and I'm quite specific with what I think should be done. And I'm not going to propose a massive increase in multiple areas without maybe at least outlining on how that revenue would be raised. So, but this capital budget, as usual, is balanced, and I appreciate everybody's work on it. I encourage everybody's support. Thank you.
Councilman Hawkins, you were next, after you.
Yeah. Thank you. Just for transparency reasons, I want to make it be known that I am highly involved with the youth football team that serves several of our districts that did receive funding. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows that I serve as a liaison, allowing them to know who their council members are, and where they can try to advocate for funding, but it is not a paid position. I'm just a liaison, so I want to make that very clear for transparency reasons. Thank you.
So there's no need for you to abstain.
Correct.
Yes. Councilman Bearstrike, you've got the floor, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do want to say that this is a process where I remember last year I voted against the operating budget and for the capital budget, and this year my no, I want to explain why I'll be a no vote, is because that I am thankful that there was a lot was taken out for South Louisville, but even though it wasn't really finally described on what those boundaries are. As a councilwoman that represents parts of West Louisville and parts of Southwest Louisville, I am thankful to see some attention being paid with this budget with that. I just want to remind my colleagues in the audience that a budget is not meant to be a re-election strategy. Many of us that are odd are up next year for election along with our mayor. A budget is not meant to be something that is partisan. It doesn't matter your party. You should all see and benefit because these are all of your tax dollars. A budget should be as inclusive as possible. And I do think that this budget could have been more inclusive, but that it is a better attempt than what I've seen before. But we are lacking in many areas. In a district like mine that has a strong, small city of Shelby, we have our own budget, has not seen a lot of investment from the city budget, yet we give more than $9 million back in taxes. We give more taxes back to Louisville Metro than we do our own Shelby city. Do you understand how complicated this is for some of us who represent smaller cities? And when we talk about what we're going to get, yes, we want the park improvement, we want public works, we want all those things. So what I'm looking at is that it feels like this is one-sided, that this budget is guided by some partisan and re-election strategies. And I will not mention that because I work on campaigns, I help people get elected, and I see a lot of the things that are happening. When it's time for re-election, many of us our constituents will say, what did you do? And some folks can show that they had road improvements, they had a lot of investment, and some of us won't be able to. But I think that as we move forward, the more attention that our community, that you as constituents pay attention to this process and get involved, and I reject the notion that people aren't involved. People aren't led in every part of the room that these deals are being made in. People aren't being led in, and we have been elected as a representative, and sometimes we're not in every part of the conversation. We were asked to submit what our possible amendments were. We were grouped in regions of South and West and East and asked what our priorities was, but at the end of the day, we did not make those final decisions, and some were made for us. So I just wanna be clear about this process about all the thanking that's going on and all the praising that's going on. It is, I don't take away from that. It is a lot of work, but it can be better. I appreciate that. I hope that my district isn't retaliated against because I'm going to be a no vote, but my no vote is in principle because this is not as inclusive of a budget as it should be. Thank you.
I didn't say anything until now, and I'm gonna try not to repeat things, but this budget is so hard to construct when you have 26 people with different priorities. So you can say it's not bold enough, but every single one of them, every single one of us sitting here would have a different idea of what a bold agenda looks like. Every single one of us, if we had a veto power on a line item in the budget, there would be nothing left because somebody would find a reason to veto just about everything in the budget. What I said the other day in the budget committee meeting was that this budget is a house of 26 cards. We could all write an amendment to this budget to reflect our priorities. I don't begrudge anybody doing that. We have the right to do that, but we could all do that and we would have a different amendment. Every one of us would have a different amendment. So I am, is the budget perfect? No, it never is. But I am absolutely respecting the process that we went through for 8 weeks to craft what is a really difficult process. And so, that's why I voted for the operating budget. That's why I'll vote for the capital budget. And I just wanted to weigh in before we closed the voting on this. Thank you.
Councilwoman McCraney, with four.
Thank you, Mr. President. I certainly support a lot of what we have done as a body to create an inclusive budget. This capital budget has a lot of great things in it. Of course, I certainly support our capital infrastructure funds for our particular district and so many other things about it. However, I will have to abstain from voting on the capital budget due to my employment prior with Simmons College of Kentucky and the fact that I was instrumental in writing the $3 million grant for the William J. Simmons Foundation. Thank you.
Seeing no one else in my queue, this is a ordinance that requires a roll call vote. Councilwoman Shannon.
We sit here and we talk about the budget, but when it first started out, I was told that the mayor put $3 million in the East End, put $3 million in the Southwest, put $3 million in the West End. What did he put in my district? Nothing. And I've been told I didn't get a lot in the budget. I told you guys I didn't get a lot in the budget. But I know next year's coming, and I expect to get the things that I want in next year. Because we cannot all get everything we want in one budget. So next year, I'll be screaming at the top of my lungs that I want my stuff in the budget. So I just want to say that my district gets left out all the time. I know you mentioned that the shadow, but Newburgh never gets nothing. It's exactly true. I do a lot of fighting to get the stuff that I need in Newburgh. I just said, 3 million went to the East End, 3 million went to the West End, and 3 million went to the Southwest. I'm nothing. Yeah. So hopefully the mayor's listening, and next year they'll put 3 million out in my area. Thank you.
No one else in the queue, this is ordinance to provide a roll call vote. Open the roll, please.
Mr. President, while the voting is taking place, this is not changing, just real quick, point of personal privilege, right? All of us who are in politics or have ever been in a place where we stood in front of a group of people to say and said thank you. We generally know not to start thanking individual people because we know as sure as we do that, we'll forget someone. And sure enough, in our thank yous, we forgot a couple people. We've mentioned our staff and we mentioned the great work the mayor did. We inadvertently forgot in our discussion, and I'm sitting here thinking about how things went. Several conversations with Dana Mayton. I think the deputy mayor was here for just about every single budget hearing. Marcus, am I right? Deputy Mayor George was here for several. Angie Dunn and Aaron Jackson. All the work that Beth and Latanya did with pulling all this stuff together would not have been possible if it hadn't been for Aaron Jackson and the work that he did as well. So, and I'm going to finish now by saying I feel certain I had forgotten someone else. I promise I did not leave you out on purpose. So this is the thank you to the person who I forgot to thank. You know who you are.
Madam Clerk, it appears that the roll is 20 yes votes, 4 no votes, and 1 abstention.
Correct.
Ordinance is adopted. Madam Clerk, reading of item 63.
The team at Norton West Louisville Hospital would like to invite you to a community update and listening session. In partnership with the Frazier Museum, we are so excited to give you, our community, updates and hear feedback from you as well. Let's talk and bridge the divide. In attendance will be myself, Lorenza Townsend, Chief Administrative Officer for Norton West Louisville Hospital, and Russ Cox, CEO of Norton Healthcare. And now, all we need is you. Join us at the Frazier Museum. The address is 829 West Main Street, beginning at 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., July 15th. Come and talk to us. Come see me. Come bridge the divide with us. But if you do nothing else, stay live.
If you do nothing else.
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 Stay live.